Hey, welcome to Beyond Organic Wine. I want to start by talking about downy mildew. It comes up in this talk and led me to do some research on it, and I learned some brand new stuff. Downy mildew is an oomycete, not a true fungi. Now, oomycetes and true fungi are both groups of organisms that are often referred to as fungi, but they have differences. Oomycetes, also known as water molds, are actually more closely related to algae than true fungi. And just a couple of the differences, the cell wall composition of oomycetes is cellulose and glucans instead of chitin, like the fungi like powdery mildew or black rot, things like that. There's a few other really interesting differences. The way that they sporulate is different, and I learned something new because of the person that you're about to hear from, who I had a lot of fun talking to. Enjoy. Johannes, thank you. Thanks for joining me. Could you please introduce yourself?
Okay, well, thank you. My name is Johannes Pinchbeck. I live in a place called Connor Creek, Alberta, Canada. It's on the Alaska Highway, and I
Okay.
tell you, it is cold here.
How
The
far
best I can
north
tell
are
you.
you? Like, where is that in relation to anything else?
Do you know
What's
where
your?
Edmonton is?
Sure. I
Yeah,
mean,
where
more or
Gretzky
less.
played.
Yeah.
Um, I grew up there, and it's about 140 kilometers northwest of that. So we're into
Goodness.
another zone already.
Wow. Yeah. What's your latitude?
Oh, geez.
I should have,
57
yeah, I
or
had you.
so, 56, 57.
56, 57. Okay.
Yeah.
Just so everybody. And now, just to clarify, are you breeding grapes and growing grapes there?
Oh, yes, very much so. Yeah.
They must
I was
be
told that I couldn't.
pretty, they must be incredible.
Tasting?
Well, I mean, hardy. They must be like super grapes.
Yeah, well, you mentioned, on your recording, it's beyond organic wine. I have a climate that is so harsh that I don't have phylloxera. I don't have uh, any of the fungal diseases or downy mildew because they can't complete a life cycle.
Wow.
And our ground freezes down almost 2 meters. So phylloxera, forget it, just dies in the ground.
So
Yeah,
what
so
about,
I'm with true organic. Add nothing except for fertilizer to my plants.
so, okay, amazing. So how did the vine roots survive if it freezes to 2 meters down?
Uh, because they're designed to. I most of the grapes that I work with were collected in near Winnipeg in Riding Mountain National Park, which is just an isotherm just north of -40 Celsius. And every so often you'll find a vine there that can take. It's the point where you know how the buds grow, and then when they get too cold they freeze and they let out a little bit of heat, and that's how they can measure how hardy that grape is. Well, for
Uh-huh.
me, I've got clones that just do not release heat. They're hardy down to almost absolute zero.
Wow.
They can take incredible cold. Um, so I mean, I'm lucky. I've also one of the problems that we had was ripening them. Vitis riparia
Okay.
doesn't like to ripen as fast as something like Vitis amurensis, which comes from Manchuria.
Right.
So we
Right.
blended the two, and some people sent me some of their material to see, would it work? And the first cross I did, just to get back before Amaranthus, was I crossed Valiant with Vitis riparia.
Okay.
And lo and behold, I actually got something that wasn't that bad. But it taught me a lot of things. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of the herbaceousness in riparia.
Yes.
Yeah, yes, of course. All you have to do to get rid of that is bring it to a slow simmer, and that stuff all comes out.
Oh, so
And
just
how I
like
figured that out, pardon me?
just sort of cook it a little.
Yes, yes.
Huh. So you
Yeah.
like
And if you do it not too high of a temperature, it doesn't affect the other flavors.
right. Huh.
So, and I figured that out making jam. Like, why does a jam not taste herbaceous?
Good.
But
That's kind of that's
there
great.
are people who do make wine from that first cross. Now, it was called Arthur Pinchbeck. I don't know if you know. Aaron Steerly from Alaska in
Mm,
Fairbanks,
no,
Alaska.
not well, at least. I don't know if
Okay,
I've heard the
well,
name, but
he's
no.
actually growing Arthur up there. And
Okay.
it's doing
Wow.
not too badly. I don't think it's been producing for him, but he's just happy. There's a picture of him holding up an 8-foot cane with his fingers. I think he must be very tall, holding it up. And I'm like, yeah, that looks like normal growth for it. It doesn't need a lot of intense heat. It actually
Uh-huh.
prefers to be around 25 degrees and not any hotter, not any cooler.
Okay. So
And
what's your Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, no, I was just gonna say, so I'm very lucky. I don't know where he got it from, but it had to have crossed the border at some point.
Right. That's amazing. So tell me more about like what's your growing season like? Do you have to train the vines differently? Like do they die
Oh,
back every year?
night and day.
Okay. Yeah,
Because
this is
when I
amazing.
started 25 years ago, or even more than that, there were only books in the library at the university on Californian grapes. And
Right.
so I thought, oh, try to grow cordons and stuff like that. Forget it. It wasn't until I read Wineworks
Okay.
and there was one picture in Quebec that they grew the technique they grew, they called it Gavo. I have never seen it named that anywhere else.
Not
But
Gio, Gavo.
yeah, Gavot, yeah.
Gavo.
Um,
Okay.
and they basically just cut off most of the canes, left about maybe a dozen, but only left them about 40 centimeters in
Okay.
length, and that's how they grew it. Well, I started to realize that growing on the ground was really good because I grow on landscape fabric, and you think, oh, that off landscape fabric. No, you can get some really good quality stuff now. Woven polyester. I have sections in my garden that are 25 years old and they're still kicking.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So because of that, I don't have to worry about weeds underneath or cleaning up under or like cutting grass underneath them. They just grow
Right.
right on this warm black plastic, and water goes right through it because it's woven. But the nothing can quite pierce those little holes.
Let me ask you this. Do you think you could do that with something like slate or gravel or anything like that? Could
I have
you
no
think
idea.
okay. Just a thought, if you didn't want to
It's
add,
just
plastic to your vineyard, maybe there's a way to do
well,
something similar with natural materials, like something that absorbs heat and that's what I'm thinking about, like rocks that absorb heat and also suppress weeds or
that's the
suppress
thing
undergrowth.
with the landscape fabric. It does hold that heat. I don't know how it does it. I mean, it the weight of it just holds it down when it gets hot. So
Uh-huh.
the soil is very warm underneath of it.
Right.
And yeah, slate, I haven't even seen grapes on slate before, but I imagine it does a similar thing, especially if they're terraced, because you get that back wall that
Oh,
holds
that'd be
onto the
amazing
heat
too.
too.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
No, what were we talking about again? Slate.
Slayer. Well, so you're growing very close to the ground. 40 centimeters is like the
No, no, that's not the height. That's the
okay.
length of the canes.
That's the
And then
length
I
of
learned,
the cane.
as I kept experiencing growing these grapes, because I lose every winter out of my seeds, I lose at least 90 to 95% of them
Of
right
the
to the
vine.
ground.
Right. Okay.
So what I started to do is I got lazy and stopped pruning them at 40 centimeters, and now they have a radius of about between 1.5 and 2 meters. So it could be
Okay.
4 meters across some of these plants. And I figured out you cannot prune them in fall. You know how you calculate the number of buds will give you this amount of wine, and it won't stress the plant the right way, or that. I
Yeah.
can't do that because I can't reliably know what's going to be there for me in the spring.
Okay.
So I usually don't prune until May.
Okay. And that
Um,
way, does that extra length protect the base of the vine from
Not at
freezing?
all.
Not
Not
at
at
all.
all.
Okay.
It's what it is I think the plant realizes that I'm at my best size to produce the best crop.
Okay. Gotcha.
And of course, I started, people say, oh, you have to get them off the ground and grow them straight up and down. And so I tried, and I could not get a crop out of them that was reliable.
Okay.
Um, there was lack of heat, or if it was different winds, the way wind blows through the canopy, I'm not sure. But it just didn't work. And I was working that plants had proven themselves on the ground. Because even though I put them on the ground, they don't have any protection many years, because with global warming or global change or whatever they call it now, um, um, the season's warmed up a lot, and we're not getting snow anymore like we used to.
Hmm.
Yeah, we're becoming desertified.
Yeah, I was gonna
Um,
say.
but this year we got in December almost a meter of snow, which is the
Okay.
most snow we've had in December, I believe, for 35 years or something like that.
Right.
Um, but yeah,
So
so
how does that help? Does that insulate the vines, or does it not matter really?
it doesn't matter.
Okay.
If they can't survive a minus 45, I'm not going to pamper them.
Right. Right. Okay. So
I don't want to
mine's
hand these things to people and expect them to be able to grow it under hard conditions. I
yeah.
mean, like Elmer Swenson stuff will grow here, but you really have to spoil it.
That's amazing because they get 40 below in Minnesota sometimes.
Oh, minus 40.
30,
Oh,
35. Yeah.
well, I think we've gone down to minus 57 here. That's fair, not Fahrenheit, that's Celsius.
That's Celsius. Right. Right. So it's a little different. Where does
It's a
that? Where?
lot different.
Yeah.
It's
That's
not
less
quite,
than Fahrenheit.
it's colder actually than minus 57 Fahrenheit.
Oh, right, because where is that? Where's the crossover? Because like if you're at
Minus
negative,
40.
I gotcha. Okay, minus 40 is right where they meet,
Yeah,
essentially. Okay,
yeah.
so minus
I,
40 is the same in both, and then it
yeah,
switches. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I knew that it was in there somewhere.
Yeah, so my only protection is the plant itself. It has to. But one thing that we've been getting back to climate manipulation that's been going on, um, we've been getting a lot longer falls. Like it's not that it it doesn't not freeze at the same time, but September I get an extra 4 weeks of very nice temperatures. Above 20. You know,
Yeah.
Nighttime temperature is 11 degrees Celsius. It just floats along there and it can go up 5 bricks. It's just incredible.
Huh.
You know, like I can get Valiant actually with acidity down to the point where it doesn't destroy your teeth.
Tell me about Valiant. I feel like I've heard of it, but I don't know much about it.
Oh, I guess not, because you're in the south there. Valiant was the grape that was produced in about, I think, 79, 80. I
Okay.
think it was in South Dakota. And they
Okay.
crossed a Labrusca with a Vitis riparia from that local area, I believe. And they ended up with this extremely hardy plant.
Right.
But it wasn't good enough for me yet,
Right.
um, because it wasn't hardy enough yet.
Okay. So you're
And the
crossing
season
it.
was too long. It's considered a medium for season length, at least
Okay.
up here.
You must need short,
Pardon
hyper
me?
short. You must need a short season grape.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Very
Do you
much
have like
so.
a month of growing season? Like, what do you get up there?
We get end of May,
Uh huh.
June, July, August, and a little bit of September. So that's what? That's 4.5 months or so.
Okay. All right.
That it's not much. But what's good
Right.
about it is that we don't go above the 30 mark very often. So I get my maximum time out of that I can. You know how they
Right.
won't grow above mine or plus 40?
Right. Right. Right.
Great. So
And
because I
also,
stay, yeah,
you get longer daylight hours during those 4 months too,
yeah,
right?
very much so, yeah.
So
Not into
that helps.
September so much, but
Not so. Yeah. Not the shoulders, but
yeah.
yeah. Okay. That's fascinating.
Yeah, so Valiant just made this explosion when it came out, and a lot of people started growing it, but they couldn't ripen it even in Edmonton
Okay.
because we hadn't warmed up yet, you know? But
Yeah.
an interesting grape that is often forgotten about now is Saverny. Have you ever heard of it?
I don't know if I have. How do you spell it?
Uh, it's Russian, so
Oh.
Secervenij, I think. You can just look it up on the internet and you'll find it. Um,
Yeah.
but it is not
That's
super hardy, but it ripened super early.
okay.
So There was a brilliant guy who was doing his master's at University of Saskatchewan, which is just one province over, and he crossed Savernye with Vitis riparia. I tried it. I put out maybe only 15 plants I was able to get, and none of them were good. He produced one called C16, which is it's an incredible grape. The only
Okay.
problem it has is the clusters are way too small, the berries are way too small, it has too many seeds in it, and it's a female.
Okay.
Like you
Okay.
understand that almost everyone
Yeah.
except Saint Pepin is hermaphroditic.
Yes, I do. Yeah, but it's a good thing to say for everyone else listening. Right.
Yeah.
So,
So, it's a female and they don't ripe or they don't open their flowers all at the same time. And sometimes this one's a
uh,
reliable pollinator, sometimes it's not. And so I have done a few crosses with C16 and some nice things are coming out of it.
okay.
It's a very nice grape. But the birds love it too, and it raisins a bit. If you leave it too long.
Okay.
And it was one of the real ones that cemented in my mind that I can't grow them up on trellises because that one, for some reason, I don't know if the wind just damaged it. It would just raisin and get dark and inedible. It was horrid. But on the ground, it does absolutely beautifully.
Okay. Great. That's lovely. So these are growing literally right along the ground.
Not
No.
quite.
Okay.
What I do with them, because of the fact you don't want clusters sitting on
On
the
the ground.
ground, of course.
Right.
So I have there are two pieces of board, kind of like a little pup tent put together.
Okay.
They're
Okay.
about 8 inches high.
Okay.
And all I do is, whether it's a cluster or a few clusters that are small, I just lift them and put them on top of that.
Right.
And they rust
Okay.
above and they hang down, but they still get the heat. And they're easier to see when it comes to picking them. Because I don't go down a row. I literally have to take these things and lift them up and flop them like an open fan on themselves and then pick underneath and then flop it back and then flop it to the other side. So
Okay.
I know it's what
You're
it
you're
is,
you're
Adam,
gonna have
is
to take some video of this because this is no. I don't know how many people can wrap
it's
their heads around
absurd.
this. This is incredible.
No, it is. It's been a lot of work, Adam, to figure out what we'll do and what we'll not do.
So when I mean I know that there's dieback and everywhere, even into New York, where I spend some time. But when you're losing 95+% every year,
No, just
how?
the seedlings.
Oh,
Seedlings,
the
not actual
seedlings. Okay,
cultivars. The
okay. So
cultivars are
gotcha, gotcha,
fine.
gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. So
The seedlings are wiped out.
seedlings get wiped out, and that means that's your selection process.
Yes. Yeah.
So you're talking about breeding. Okay, so I should make that distinction when I'm asking these questions, just between
Yeah.
your nursery and then your sort of vineyard stock or whatever.
Well, no,
Um, Go ahead.
I breed, but I
Uh-huh.
don't make wine.
Got it.
I try
Now,
to explain to people if I relied on my winemaking skills, I would have, you know, died a painful death years ago.
you
The wine I make is so horrible. It's like I try to tell people, do you expect grain farmers to, bake their own bread?
yes, totally. Now, but I understand. How much do you grow, or do you just grow for nursery stock? Do you grow for fruit to like provide fruit for anybody, or do you just grow to
No,
sell?
I'm growing at this
Go-
point just to develop a product that will grow in our climate.
Got it. And do you have named varieties yet, or
Yeah,
how
the Arthur that was in Alaska I was telling you about.
the Arthur is yours? Okay.
Yeah, Arthur Pinchbeck. It's called after my great uncle who died in the First World War for a story here. And because he volunteered, he was given a quarter of land and he could put his finger wherever on this map he chose, put his finger on there. And that's where I live now, 120 or 110 years ago that he did.
Wow.
I'm on the same
Well,
property. Yeah. It's not like Europe, where people have been there for 1,000 years, but for here, it's quite unusual.
well, it's a great homage to him as well.
Yeah.
um, that's fantastic. Wow. Okay. So, is anybody making wine from your grape?
Um, You know what? People are willing to go down to southern Alberta, get Californian juice that's pumped into this. No, don't laugh yet. It gets worse. Um, that gets pumped into these big tanks. They ferment it, bottle it, and charge people $40 a bottle.
Yep.
You know, and now that the stuff is rotting down there, oh, I feel so bad for them. I don't know how long you've been on the forum there for wine,
Yeah.
but I
The
made
group
the
of
mistake of saying, okay, what are we going to have as as Plan B in case wine does start to lose interest? What are we going to do?
uh-huh.
And people are calling me a neo prohibitionist, and I'm like, no, I live in a climate where you have to have a lot of different crops to survive
Right.
and uses for them, you
What
know?
what's the what's it like where right now outside? I mean, we're January 12th, so
It's actually very warm. It's only
oh,
about 6 degrees, so it's above freezing.
wow. Okay.
And the snow is melting very fast, but it just collapses basically on itself. It just
Okay.
doesn't. It's not as tall, but it's beautifully sunny. There's a bright blue sky. The sun is beaming everywhere. You know,
Oh,
some
lovely.
people hate the cold here; they can't handle it, but I can take the cold. Um, so these days are just like great days to be alive.
Are there times where you shouldn't go outside when it's 56 below?
um, if you're just walking through a shovel pathway, it's not that bad. You learn to live with it. Like a lot of people have, their sheepskin hats and stuff like that. There's just a little bit extra cold resistance, but you learn things like no, you don't stick your tongue on a metal pipe. You know,
Right. Little things like that.
but
Um,
the closest I've experienced is only -49, I think.
okay.
But it's still cold. Like,
Yeah, no joke.
you can't spit without the spit hitting a wall and cracking. Like just
Wow.
shattering.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Like boiling water, you've seen it in Russia where they do it in Siberia and they just throw boiling water up and it just falls down as pebbles. Yeah.
Wow.
It is that cold here. And unfortunately, 2 days ago we had a -30, and now we're up to this temperature. It does produce stress on the plants.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the back and forth is almost more stressful than if it was
Mhm.
like extremely cold for the whole winter, right?
Yeah, but and that's what the snow. Having snow is a bit of a cheat because it keeps the temperature from fluctuating.
Well, so let me ask you this. Did you breed Arthur just to have something that could survive there? Or, I mean, did you
Yes.
make any? Okay, so it wasn't selections based on this is the best tasting one from a whole array of things that survived.
No, it pretty much was. There were out of I think I put in 80 plants, and it was the only one that was not so incredibly herbaceous that you could do
Okay.
something with it. I mean, I was getting 4.0 total acidity levels.
That's not
That
so high.
No, 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 no. That's 4 times what's usually tolerable or
Oh,
acceptable.
that's right. You're right. I'm thinking point 0.4.
No, no, no. That
Yeah,
that
yeah.
that
4
has
is
happened with
insane.
one. That has happened before with some of my clusters, but they taste so horrible that the combining them is surprisingly difficult. Trying to get every piece in. I thought when I started this project, honestly, I thought, Adam, I would be done in 5 years. I do one cross of Riparian onto the Labrusca. Labrusca flavor would be lost in that cross, but it's better ripening and all those things from Riparian would be perfect and the flavor of Riparian. But for some reason, like when you cross Riparian with Labrusca, a lot of the herbaceousness is actually lost.
Huh.
So I
Nice.
thought, oh yeah, I'll just put in a couple, maybe 100 seedlings. It'll be no problem. Well, 25 years later, I'm still plugging along here. Actually, it's 28 years now.
Wow. So other than Labrusca and Riparia, Amarensis also?
Yes, yes,
Uh,
amaranthus in its pure form cannot make it here.
really?
Yes, I
The
don't know why.
Siberian grape cannot make it where you are. That's
No,
amazing.
it's not. It's not. They're actually where they come from in Manchuria. is
interior.
actually quite a bit warmer than we are here.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
but what it has is that short, intense season,
Got it.
and that's what I get from the Amarensis. But
Okay.
I've had people from the States give me, pure Riparia. 1 year, it doesn't even survive from the crown up. I mean, rarely do I get a plant that is absolutely completely killed. It will always struggle
Wow.
to grow again. But
So,
somebody did me a cross with some Minnesota Riparia onto Amarensis,
uh-huh.
and it produced some. You know how all the numbers are always right, like the right total acidity, the right pH, the
Yeah.
right sugar. Well, it had all those right numbers, but it tasted like diesel. I don't know if you've drunk it before, but I haven't. But it reminded me of that, which
This
is
was
really
pure
unfortunate because it
Riparia?
was a great, great grape.
This was pure Riparia.
No, 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 no. Riparian crossed with Amarensis.
Oh, no, I haven't tried that.
No, those are nasty. But yeah, because Saverny is half or three quarters Amaranthus, I believe, and one quarter Madeleine Angevin, I think it is. It's an
Oh,
extremely early grape from France,
okay.
and
Interesting.
that's what gave it. It's a very lovely grape. Like it's one of those grapes you can just pull off the vine and enjoy it without having to wash it or.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
What else have you learned doing this where you are?
Um, the biggest thing, and it bothers everybody in the world, is that we don't have an identical flavor profile that comes from Vitis vinifera. It's different.
It's different. Yeah.
Yes, and a lot of people, it's changing now. I am
Who
thankful
gets to
for
say
that.
that Vitis vinifera is the flavor profile that we should have? I mean,
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. We should, but the thing is, I can't do that.
no,
I
yeah, I
can't
mean, I'm not
grow.
saying we should.
No,
I'm
but
questioning
basically, I
whether
can't.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's what, people like Mark Hart and stuff like that. He has a lot of riparian in his grapes and stuff like that. So,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
but I haven't tasted his Solaris cross because I tried
Mm.
Solaris I made a bit of a faux pas with him. And I said, "Oh, congratulations! What's the parentage of your plant? I mean, it's so nice that there's going to be something that they can grow in Sweden that isn't Solaris." Well, Solaris was the father. I have a way of putting my foot in my mouth. So
Well, I mean, diversity is nice. He doesn't have to take that as a knock on his vine. It's just nice to have diversity, right? Like,
yeah,
mix
well,
things up a little
it
bit.
probably will replace that grape
Okay.
because it is quite a phenomenal plant he's produced.
Is
But it's
anybody
too
else?
cold for Wisconsin, I believe. So I don't know if you should
Okay.
quote me on that, but I think last time I talked to him, it was a problem with it just wasn't quite hardy enough.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, Sweden is, even though further north, a little warmer, right? Because you get the Gulf Stream effect there, and those England and Norse
Hmm.
countries a little bit.
Yeah,
What any is anybody else at all doing what you're doing in that area? Is there
you know
anybody
what?
that you is there anybody as far north as you are or as cold as you are doing what you're
Yeah, that's a
doing?
better term, cold.
Yeah, because yeah, not
U.S.
north.
Saskatchewan, it's a big secret what's occurring there now. Nobody seems to know.
Okay.
Luckily, I was given C16 by Tyler, and I had to sign a non-propagation agreement with.
Okay.
And that's when I gave him Arthur at the same time, and I thought Arthur was something wonderful then. Until I realized that there are grapes that will do better, and don't have like Arthur has too much potassium um, tartarate or whatever it is.
Okay.
And if you don't precipitate it, it will do it in the bottle as little crunchy crystals.
Yeah, sure.
There's all these little things you have to learn.
Yeah.
And it's hard to explain to people when you're just doing it yourself. You just know what to do. You don't know what you're doing. It's kind of like the French idea, they don't know really what they're doing with their vines. They're just so perfect where they are that they're just incredible. I agree with that sometimes, but not for the price. Um,
Right.
so, you just do it like, you'd have every year before that,
Yeah.
and take records. I mean,
Yeah.
I have books upon books going back to like 2008 when I started recording religiously.
Okay.
But
Wow.
yeah, it's because and two, I try to use a computer to do it, and it was so much easier just doing it on paper because all I'd have to do is put them in plastic sacks,
Mm-hmm.
and if the place flooded or whatever, who knows? Rain got on it. It's not a computer that will short out.
Yeah.
I've got my books here, and I have little tabs so I know where each map and stuff is, and maybe that's why it shows why I'm such a not afraid of using computers, but uncomfortable with them because I'm so unfamiliar with them.
Okay. Yeah. That's, that could be a healthy place to be if you're, if you, I mean, I'm a bit of a Luddite in philosophically, at least. I mean, I was an IT director, so it's kind of hard for me to lose what I know already,
Mm.
but philosophically, I don't know that any of this technology has benefited humanity in the grand scheme very much.
This AI thing, when you do searches, it
Uh-huh.
really annoys me because at the
Yeah.
bottom it says this may not be accurate. And
Yeah.
everything I know about that I've read on there, there is an error somewhere
Yeah.
something that I'm familiar with.
Yeah. Yep.
And, but it was like, because I also breed roses and plums just to extend like if anything makes me
Oh,
money, it's going to be roses.
okay. Yeah.
And like nah, I won't get into roses. Um, Let me
Plum,
see.
how do plums do? Do you have to grow them short too, or do you get full?
No, I let them grow like they like.
Okay, great.
But I've learned there's a reason why I don't leave a crown in them
Uh-huh.
because moose get in there and crack it open
Okay.
and then eat the insides of the crown. And then they get gnosis, I think it's called gnosis. And
Okay.
it's basically just I don't know even know if it's a bacteria or virus, I mean, or fungus, but it basically causes it to ooze and ooze and ooze until it dies.
Oh,
So I
okay.
had to learn how to grow up my single stem because I don't like doing it that way because if you lose that single stem, the plant could be lost. But if you've
Right.
only got one thing out, multiple canes out growing up, the weather is not bad, but the moose are the problem. But I did go this year and finally I bought electrical fencing.
Ah,
And you could
okay.
see where the poor mother went to chew on the hips. And I got the advice that you put the two wires very low, almost just at stepping level, and the other one quite a bit higher. And what they do is they put their heads in there and they hear something or pull back. It zaps them on the back of the head.
Right.
So they think they're being attacked.
Right.
So they just immediately panic. I only had one of them had to experience that, and I've had no trouble ever
Ever.
again.
Yeah.
With like white-tailed deer out here are like gophers in southern Alberta. Like we've just got billions of them.
Right.
Like it's to the
Right.
point where I'll wake up in the morning and the dog goes, there's 12 out there today. Can I wait till there's only six? You know?
So so that I don't get attacked by the deer.
Yeah, well, she knows how to run. I mean, it's kind of odd, but I've got we call her the the attack what's the name? The attack poodle farm dog. She's a poodle. She's a standard poodle, huge.
Okay.
They're
Right.
big, big, big creatures, and she
Yeah.
does so well. So, she does the job more than I expected because I had border collies before, and they like to work as teams, though, like of three. Like they really love to work together, and they chase the
Okay.
deer away. But she's alone, but she can run so much faster than almost anything I've experienced. Even greyhound, she's almost at that speed because a
So do
single
you
jump is 8 feet for her. When
wow.
she's running.
Yeah. Now, do you so with the I'm shocked that the moose you can keep them out with an electric. So, what about the vines? I mean, do the moose go for the vines or do the deer go for the vines? I mean,
Oh,
I imagine
it depends
you.
on the clone. Some of them they love, some of them they've hated. I don't have electrical fence around one small little area where I'm growing Somerset seedless, just as for pollen. And a deer went in there, chewed uh, a little bit of the grape, and then moved over a foot and dug out a daylily and ate that. So, I mean, it's not that much of a problem, and I don't mind losing a daylily.
Right.
So it wasn't an issue.
Okay. Okay. This is amazing. I'm trying to think what other things I can't even think about what I
What do they
can't
taste
imagine.
like? Do you
Yeah,
want to
that's it.
know?
Yeah. I mean, if you're not
Well,
fermenting them,
yeah, but I know the flavors. You study the
okay.
flavors enough in the literature, and you start to taste it as you're doing it. Methylanthranilate in
Labrusca.
Labrusca. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's one precursor to that called anthranic acid, which you don't find so much in Concord, but you find more in Niagara. I think somebody will correct me on this. But I've been able to breed for just that one step before, and it doesn't have that murky taste that Welch's juice has. It's a
Okay.
much brighter strawberry-like flavor.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
And then that you get that from the Labrusca. And then
Yeah.
from the Riparian, you get this incredible raspberry flavor once you get rid of the herbaceousness. Very, just
Beautiful.
like, just elegant. Just, it's so nice. So I've actually come to the point where I've considered I'm not going to be doing breeding so much for wine. Are you familiar with Quinoto down there? It's little 100 ml bottles of rotten.
No.
It's an Italian drink that's made from rhubarb, and it's almost black. And it's just a sipping kind of drink when you're playing chess with your friends outside.
Okay.
That type of thing. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
looking at using my grapes that I was going to make all into wine, which nobody seems to want anymore, and put them into these little Quinoto bottles of only 100 ml and charge people $4 for them.
Okay.
So that is giving you a lot of more money and a lot less processing. So all you have to do is filter them, to sterilize it, put it in a bottle, and go from there. I mean, I may not get $4, but I mean that's what Quinonto bottles of Quinonto sell for, you
That's
know?
amazing.
And the
Yeah.
flavors are so much more intense and interesting before they're, attacked by the yeast. They're like, I remember the first time I tasted Pinot Noir right off the vine, it was just an incredible experience. And that's when I started thinking maybe I should be going towards juice rather than wine.
Okay.
And the fact I can grow organically. um I don't have to worry about seasons, or not seasons, but years. you know
In what sense?
um you know what I Pardon me.
Oh, vintages. You mean just
Yeah,
because it,
vintages, I don't have
yeah,
to worry about that.
because it's
I
just
can
juice. Yeah.
Yeah, you can mix it around and do what you want with it, and you don't have to worry about labeling correctly for the VQA. And
Right.
no. And the thing is, like, what's happened in BC, I don't know if you are aware of what happened in BC last winter. They went down to
I
minus
am.
20. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was awful, wasn't it?
Yeah. I
And,
mean, that killed a lot of vineyards, right? A lot of the vinifera vineyards.
oh, yeah, well, there's only vinifera there anyways, for the most part. I mean,
Right.
there are
Right.
some people who grow Bac Noir and Folle Blanche. No, not Folle Blanche. What is it called? What? Doesn't matter. Um, but yeah, it was a tragedy to go through there, because really, in many ways, they're not that much more south than me. It's just that they have the mountains holding the cold out from coming down as it comes down from the Arctic along the Rocky Mountains. Well, you've heard of the Alberta Clippers, haven't you? That they had
I
trouble in Minnesota with.
no. What do you mean?
Okay, well, that's one of the reasons why Minnesota has troubles growing grapes without burying them. The vinifera ones
Well,
is
of
these
course. Yeah.
Alberta Clippers. They're usually about minus 40, and they slide all the way down. They just follow the path down the prairies, from here. But we're
Right.
so used to it that it just doesn't really matter. But they're becoming more prevalent now because what's that? The where's that air current that goes from west to east?
Jet stream.
Jet stream. That's it. It's weakening,
Right.
and that's allowing these clippers to come over them and slip down while they were stopped before. So I mean,
Right.
for us, it isn't global warming; it's global change. But
Right.
you know, like, for the first time in my life in our area here, 2 years ago, we experienced plus 40. It would get up to plus 35 maybe, but plus 40 was unknown. That winter we got a minus 42
Wow.
Celsius. So it's just it's unreliable. It's I wish things would just stabilize out, and then I knew what to breed for.
Right. Yeah. I think the not in our lifetime, Johannes. Not we're
No, I
looking
don't
at
think so either.
nothing but extremity and unpredictability probably for the rest of our lifetime. I
Mm,
think yeah, but I mean, in what you're talking about, I mean, for anybody that's not familiar, the idea that the jet stream is weakening is because of global warming, because the difference between the pole and the equator is lessening because the poles are warming up at a much higher rate,
mm-hmm,
and so you don't have that dynamic of cold and hot that creates the movement and creates that, the dynamic,
mm-hmm.
whatever scenario that makes the jet stream strong and steady. Now it wobbles and it's weakened, and so it'll stagnate over an area. So we're going to get floods as it just like stops, like sort of settles into one area and lays there for a while, and then we'll get droughts as it moves away and stays away for a while, and we get no rain there. So yeah, I mean, this is all theory, but I think it's one of the strongest theories out there right now about what's happening
Well,
with
see,
the
I
jet
live in
stream.
Alberta, which is oil country,
Yeah.
and you dare not criticize carbon dioxide or methane. It's just not done,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
but we
Well,
have to adapt.
the U.S. gets most of our oil from right there where you are. So, yeah, we're
Well,
your
that's
biggest
Fort
customer.
McMurray, which is even further up. Like that's cold. Like that's I
Right.
think 1B. Well,
Wow.
I'm at 2B here, which it's different from the American system.
You
I
mean the
think
grow
I'd
zone?
actually be
Gotcha.
closer to a 1 in your system down there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Wow.
Yeah.
Grow zone one. Is there a no grow zone? Like they're just like, no, don't do it here. Sorry.
No, no, no. It's true. There are indicator plants you look for, and if you start getting alpine, nothing's gonna grow there anymore.
Right.
If it's poplar, spruce, or balsam or balsam fir, yeah, that's it's gonna be all right. And we
Well,
haven't
let
talked
me.
about soil type yet.
Yeah, I was going to say what is the mega we talked about some of the mega fauna. What's like the mega flora around you? Like, are you in, what's the
Oh, I'm
landscape
boreal
like?
forest.
Boreal forest. Okay.
Yes, and I have original old growth forest, which has tamarack, which is a larch.
Oh yeah,
Um,
wow. So what is like a deciduous conifer?
yes, yes, it
Yeah.
drops its leaves every fall, and so many people cut them down thinking that they died.
Because it's an evergreen. And
Yeah,
people are like,
yeah.
"Oh, it dropped its leaf."
Well, it's
Oh
a
my god.
gymnosperm, so
Right, right. So not
it's
right.
supposed to drop. It's not supposed to drop them, but they do. Um, and
That's
I
funny.
have a lot of Douglas fir, and but white spruce and the two poplars. I can't remember which ones they are. Those get cut as fast as I can to the ground. But I'm working here on 161 acres, so I've got
Okay.
room, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Just cutting
Yeah.
back the poplars as they're trying to encroach into the fields.
Sure. Do you
It can
have a
become a
tractor or
nightmare.
anything, or what do you do? Do you do everything by hand?
No, I have an electric chainsaw that I'm very proud of. It neither stinks. It runs
Yeah.
as long as a gas one.
Okay.
You can take the battery off and just attach a little wire to it, and that is it's like as light as a baseball bat, maybe. Not even that.
Wow.
It's so light,
Wow.
and you
That's
can control
fantastic.
it so much better. It doesn't have the real power every so often you need, but it is such an easier machine to deal with. And the only thing you have to worry about is lubrication, bar lubrication.
Right.
You don't have to take care of it in any way other than cleaning it occasionally, getting the crap out from it. But yeah, so that's what I do. I have to go around and cut right to the ground. But I'm thinking now I'm out here more time, I will get somebody and just rip out the poplar right to the uh, to the fence line.
Okay.
But yeah, we are boreal forest, and we do have the typical gray wooded boreal forest soil, which is a mineral soil. It's mostly here for a silt. There's clay in it too, but not really any sand. Um, it's great if you want fertilizers to work immediately, because it gets
Okay.
right through that mineral soil and gets to the
Okay.
roots fast, but it doesn't hold it very long in the same way that a heavy carbon uh, soil would do, holding on to the different fertilizers for the plants.
Okay. That sounds not too rocky. Is it like it's not
Oh,
like
huge
good?
rocks. Everything from the
Yeah.
size of a Volkswagen Beetle down to pebbles. We used
Okay.
to grow here. What's it called? Alfalfa, and it was a co-op, and they come to my grandfather's place, which is now ours. And their machines would always break down. But they always hit a rock
Okay.
because they tilled the soil and stuff like that, and that lifts the rocks out. We haven't tilled since I think it was 91 was the last time we tilled.
Okay.
So
Just to
we just cut it and let it drop to the ground. We cut a hole or a seam that opens up, drop the seeds inside, a little bit of fertilizer at the same time, and there you are. That's all. It's so much cheaper to do
nice.
it that way, less diesel and stuff like that. And it's the hard thing is convincing people that the grapes will grow fine. If the neighbors are around and they always take them when I have an excess.
Okay.
But they're
The
not really
grapes, you mean?
sure about growing it on their own. Some of them are good at it. But I made the mistake of telling one woman that she should grow her grapes on the ground. So she let it grow up like a
Uh-huh.
cordon and then bend it all the way down to the ground and grew it out that way. And it's, again, putting my foot in my mouth. I didn't describe to her exactly what you're supposed to do.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
That
but
is funny. That was funny.
yeah, it's a learning. You know, like like everything from the 3 node rule. I try to explain to people why you do it. It's not because you need 3 nodes per se, but it's an insurance, you know,
Yeah.
uh, policy. So you put down those two underneath the snow, and they'll come out. If the top one dies, if it's a very important plant that you have, like a nice Elmer Swenson one that actually produces a really nice table grape. Um,
Yeah.
but one guy got angry at me and said, "Well, why should you do that? If this plant of yours is hardy, why am I burying it?" And I
Right.
said, "It's insurance." And he says, "No, no, you shouldn't have to do that." And he buried his Valiant down in Edmonton. I'm like, "Well, you shouldn't have to."
Right.
But he's an incredible apple grower. Like he's just
Yeah.
brilliant with his apples and plums for that sake. So
Yeah.
it's just, it's learning to see them not as trees, but as more something like a tree peony. It grows up a little bit, but it never gets that big, and it doesn't
Uh-huh.
need a big trunk on it. And the worst thing you can do is cutting back to only that one trunk if you're trying to cut it back, because you'll kill the
Right.
plant. And that's why, again, I grow from a crown out.
Okay. So you keep a nice thick sort of
Yeah,
base.
yeah.
How
Yeah.
long is that crown? Like how far above the ground do you let that get?
It's actually slightly settled into the ground.
That
It's
that
actually
makes
below the ground level. It comes up a little bit.
So you're just getting canes straight out of that. Like
Yep.
you just
Yep.
prune back to like at ground level or below, basically.
Yeah, yeah. Well, basically, what I have to do is every year I take out every vine that's more, or every cane that's larger than a centimeter and a half. So that cleans up a lot of stuff.
Okay.
And then those younger canes, those beautiful brown ones that are so healthy, and you just let them go and do their thing, and they know what they're doing. I mean, they're used to being eaten in nature. I mean,
Hmm.
they've adapted to it,
Right.
and it's nothing for them. Like the first time I got to see wild grapes was actually in Minnesota, along the Mississippi River there, and I really didn't appreciate they grow up and then they just cascade over the trees and
Right.
eventually pull them down.
Right.
Yeah, it's quite different. And then in Manitoba, where I did my collecting from, they just kind of ramble around in all over the place in bed, river runs or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
And
River
what's good
bottoms. Yeah.
about that is that's what they want to do there. They want to do it here, so
Right.
they're willing to do it for me. But I had to listen to the plants. I had to
Yeah.
stop reading those books written in the 50s about how to grow grapes. And so, I mean, trying to count, buds that are going to survive, I couldn't do it. And I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong until I realized that every one part of their plant survives in that climate,
Right.
or at least it seems to. It's been a long time since I've been down there.
This has been a lot of
Just
fun, actually. I just learned so much new stuff I'd never even heard of and considered a potential for grapes and vines and everything.
yeah,
Thank you so much for
yeah.
talking. I
There's no problem.
appreciate
It's
it.
fun.
Hey, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you joining in to these podcasts. If you'd like to support these podcasts, probably the best way to do that is to just join Substack as a paid subscriber at beyondorganicwine.substack.com. It also gives you access to all the paid episodes and other content that I will be releasing on Substack. And I also want to thank Colden Pro for this beautiful closing music.